Okay, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity again to discuss concerns with you this morning. I'm here this morning as president of the Osceola County Taxpayer Association and as a citizen of this county. I want to address the issue of the budget in general as it relates to the compensation board recommendation. As we know with most things, they're all intertwined. They all affect each other, and some of this is done on purpose to make it more difficult to address a specific issue. So the unwinding of all these intertwined issues isn't going to be an easy thing, but it's got to be started somewhere. And hopefully I can address somewhat some of these issues this morning. Our nation is being consumed by unbridled government spending in all areas and at all levels. Your sincere and deliberate move to control costs today will start you on the way to reduce the size of government in this county, which will be required in the next decade beginning sooner than you may realize. You're passing fund expenses and fund monies from one account to another and borrowing money from one fund to another already. Our proposal today is this: no wage increases for any elected official. The comp board process has been exposed as a farce. A substantial reduction of your own pay would set the example necessary for you to have the credibility necessary to begin this process of scaling back county government. Bring you back to the last year when your representatives on the comp board did recommend a pay reduction, but in the ultimate budget salary approvals, there was no cut made. The flyer, which you and many other Osceola County residents received, again explained the adequacy of county employee compensation packages. It also shed light on the fact that cost-reducing measures are possible in areas of health insurance and in some cases salary reductions. Actuarially sound retirement plan benefits will continue to escalate. Actuarially unsound, if that's not what I said. Greedy, unrealistic salary demands by some elected officials will affect those elected officials who are willing to propose more realistic requests. What are you risking beside your political futures? Number one, not everyone will give you a smile and a friendly greeting when you walk into the courthouse. Number two, everything that happens, which is unfortunate, will be blamed on you failing to fund it properly. Number three, lawsuits will be threatened and your county attorney will sit back and withhold his best advice and will assume a neutral, if not hostile, stance against you, as if he hasn't already with his selection of his comp board representative, a former union representative. How will you benefit? You will be seen as leaders. Number one. Number two, you will allow for more options in the future in all areas of the budget. Number three, you will set an example for other leaders both inside and outside of this county. Number four, you will avoid the severity of future budget adjustments by being frugal today. Number five, you will serve notice to those greedy county officials that unrealistic demands will not be tolerated for future reference. It's no coincidence that a 40% reduction in the comp board recommendation coincides with the county attorney's advice concerning the sheriff's necessary wage increase. He's betting on your cowardice and he will benefit monetarily by it. Most importantly, you will be able to hold the growth of taxation for those unable to make up for ever-increasing property taxes, and I mean most importantly. Ultimately, if my taxes, me personally, go up 10%, I'm going to survive. I don't have to cut back on what I buy at the grocery store or anything like that. It's the people that are least able to pay these increases in taxes are the ones that are most affected. These include, some of these that are included in this group are senior citizens who live on fixed and frozen incomes, children and young families trying to get by on unemployment benefits, stagnant or decreasing wages, and inflating costs for every other need. Your goals must be deliberate. Your job should not be to get all you can and then spend it. If you interpret any increases in valuation as your green light for more spending, you are mistaken. These increases should be utilized to decrease levy rates, which will hold the line on taxes and benefit all taxpayers, but to a greater extent those referred to previously. We can't talk about any of these without talking about public safety. First of all, you have the code on your side. Union contracts cannot push the sheriff's salary. In closing, we are prepared to assist you in whatever role you desire. We will sit down with two of you who are most able to crunch the numbers and are willing to act as liaisons to the full board. We will assist you to manage this budget if you allow us. Your options are many. Some counties are eliminating offices, such as recorder, and combining them with others. Business managers are being utilized to cut expenses in some departments as much as 30% in a treasurer's office in Illinois in this past month alone. We have access to information you perhaps are not privy to because of our willingness to keep our membership and the information we receive confidential. We will assist you in exposing any intimidating tactics which will surely be used just as we expose the tactics of the compensation board process. If you are seen as representing all the people of Osceola County, people will rally around you. The takers will resist, But if you keep in mind that government exists to provide basic services in the most effective and frugal manner, beyond that government consumes the community's wealth, this county will be a survivor with your leadership.
Okay, it's 9:30, so we'll move along. This part will discuss the compensation board's recommendation, whether we approve or disapprove it. You have a copy of the recommendation that you run in your file? Phil, got his? Yep. Mike, here. This is the part where you guys get to discuss this. You can sit back and moderate.
Was I Mickey King or what?
Recommendation came in. I'll go with the recommendation here for everybody. The attorney, this is what the compensation board came up with. They recommended an increase in attorney wages, $6,400. The auditor, $1,275. Recorder, $1,275. Treasurer, $1,275, and the sheriff, $2,850, and the supervisors, they recommended no increase this year. So that's their. Is this the motion to either approve or disapprove this, or we need to talk about it? Anybody care to start? Go for it.
No, I think it ought to be left the same. I don't think we're going to give anybody a raise where this economy is. The federal government's broke, the state's broke, and we're going to be if we don't contain our expenses.
Okay, I don't know if we can give zero.
He would have to make a motion to refuse the, but he can make that motion to reject all of this. Okay, as, to reduce it all to zero. He could make that motion if he wanted to.
I still move, I'll get that.
Okay, Roger makes a motion to get zero increase all across. Get this right. Roger makes a
Gotta
motion
reduce by
to
percentage.
disapprove.
No, reduce it by 100% recommendation, right? Reduce it
You
by
gotta
percentage.
reduce it by a percentage.
But it's his motion, he should
That's
be
right.
free to say it. I don't.
So your motion is to disapprove the recommendation of the compensation.
Right.
Okay, that's the motion. You have a second? Once. Motion fails, due to lack of second.
I guess I think the girls over here deserve something. What they recommended, I can't agree with that. I'm kind of thinking to drop it by 40%, which would put the county attorney at $38.40, the auditor, recorder, the treasurer at $765, and the sheriff at $17.10. I don't know, I guess I feel the girls over here work pretty hard. I think they should have a little something, which I figured up, I think it was like 37 cents an hour or something like that.
Well, they should be happy they have a job.
Okay, Mike makes a, sorry.
I know.
Mike makes a motion to approve the compensation board's recommendation, but decrease it by 40%. Is that
That's a motion.
Yeah, that's the motion.
I'll support that.
Phil, second. I'll open that up for discussion.
visited with, I think Kate might be one of them. But there was 3 of them. We had a nice conversation. Really did. Sat to talk things over, and they could agree with this. Because I told them what I was thinking.
I did.
But I guess that's just my thoughts on it.
That's the
How do you
That's
get
the
on the
county.
agenda?
You're not on the agenda.
Yeah, but how do you
I'm
get
sorry,
on
we're not
that?
answering questions.
That Mike's comments are pretty much what I received. I had phone calls. A couple of them said nothing. Others said, raises, don't go all the way. And I think just looking at the cost of living,
I think the cost of living is about 3%.
well, I looked, and
I think Coal is probably about 2.5, isn't it?
that's what I,
Really hear different.
yeah, that's what I found. But the cost of living, I should have cocked it on. But one of the last 2 years, last year there was no increase in pay. This year, I think this is modest if this motion passes. We haven't voted yet, of course, but
There was an insurance jump. I think the hikers took a jump this year. So it actually had no increases, a decrease.
well, yeah, we're holding our ground. And I think when you look at that was printed for us here, the compensation board recommendations from other counties, I don't know what they're going to adopt. There might be some zeros, there might be some that adopt them as presented.
I think we're kind of through it.
I think a lot of them today. Yeah.
Someone got the recommendations, but they don't know anybody's acting.
No, I don't know if anybody's acted on it. But I think we're in line. But reasonable expectations from both viewpoints. And I think if you look at what there's so many things that you have to take into consideration. Yes, our county is way behind our surrounding counties. Yes, they have higher valuations and larger populations. So we are at lower levels. But we have to, some of the criticism we get, that these wages are so high, well, we have offices that are run with fewer people. There's other arguments on either side of this thing. And I think that if we strike a balance,
Any other discussion? You have a motion out on the floor. Call for a vote. Bill? Mike?
Aye.
Roger?
No.
Bill?
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carried.